Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Ranjana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Ashtotar Tata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Ashtotar Tata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, it's getting a little warmer in here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On his 20th day of January 2026 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in chapter 16, the divine and demoniac natures. Text 11 to 12 at the bottom of page 627. So we'll just do the first one. 627 at the bottom. You got it? 627. He gave me your book. Okay. Chintam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga parama etavad iti nishtitaha Chintam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishtitaha. Chintam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishtitaha. Chintam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishtitaha. Chintam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishtitaha. Want to try it? Chintam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishtitaha. Intam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishtitaha. Chintam apadimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishtitaha. Okay, before I chant the next verse and give the translations, just to note, at the end of the second or fourth line, as we see there, we have the long A followed by the visarga, the S with the dot under it. So it's pralayantam upashritaha rather than pralayantam upashritaha. If it was a short A, it would be upashritaha. But because it's long, it's upashritaha. Same thing with the last line, etavaditi nishtitaha rather than nishtitaha. Okay, I'll read the second one myself, then we'll do the translation. Words in translation. Asha pasha shataya bodha kama krodha parayanaha ihante kama bhogartam anyayen arta sanchayan. Okay, the word by words for the first one. Chintam, fears and anxieties, apadimeyam, immeasurable, cha, and pralayantam, unto the point of death, upashitaha, having taken shelter of, kama upabhoga, sense gratification, padama, the highest goal of life, etavat, thus, iti, in this way, nishtitaha, having ascertained. Translation. They, the demons, believe that to gratify, here we go, sorry. Translation. They, the demons, believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Purport: the demoniac accept that the enjoyment of the senses is the ultimate goal of life,
And this concept they maintain until death. They do not believe in life after death, and they do not believe that one takes on different types of bodies according to one's karma or activities in this world. Their plans for life are never finished, and they go on preparing plan after plan, all of which are never finished. We have personal experience of a person of such demoniac mentality who, even at the point of death, was requesting the physician to prolong his life for 4 years more because his plans were not yet complete. Such foolish people do not know that a physician cannot prolong life even for a moment. When the notice is there, there is no consideration of the man's desire. The laws of nature do not allow a second beyond what one is destined to enjoy. The demoniac person who has no faith in God or the supersoul within himself performs all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. He does not know that there is a witness sitting within his heart. The supersoul is observing the activities of the individual soul. As it is stated in the Upanishads, there are two birds sitting in one tree. One is acting and enjoying or suffering the fruits of the branches, and the other is witnessing. But one who is demoniac has no knowledge of the Vedic scripture, nor has he any faith. Therefore he feels free to do anything for sense enjoyment, regardless of the consequences. Om jnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshur unmilitam mena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So, this is the result of maintaining throughout one's life the demonic mentality, which is characterized especially in this verse 8, Asatyam apatishtam te jagadahu adishwaram. They, the demons, say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. So they see the whole creation as simply a impersonal, has impersonal roots. That's why there's Big Bang theory, you know, that everything came from a big explosion. What could be more impersonal than that? And what is the result of that worldview? Well, that means that this is our field to enjoy. Those who are powerful enough can grab as much as they want and subdue others and enslave them or whatever. So you can see how such a mentality works against the human feeling of compassion and empathy. Because if everything is meant for sense gratification, then let me grab as much as I can, and that means often exploiting other people. YOLO. Huh? YOLO. You only live once. Right. It's based on and the corresponding is FOMO, fear of missing out, right? YOLO, therefore FOMO. So, but that's completely, so the whole, we know that as Christians, one of the first instructions, if not the first instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, Dehi nosmin dehe, that just as we're changing in this body is changing from childhood to adolescence to mature age, old age, and finally death. But we're the same person. The body is changing, but we're the same. So that's transmigration, even in this one lifetime. You see? Yeah, that's true, you know. And then if you're willing to see, and why should it stop at death? Similarly, at the time of death, we also take another body. Now, if you believe in that, that changes everything. Because along with that idea of transmigration is karma, right? Karma and transmigration. What determines what kind of body we get? Well, the higher powers that are observing what you're doing. In other words, everything is under the supervision of the Lord, the internal, you know, the Lord is watching, He's with us at every moment. So, and as nicely explained in the last chapter, if you recall, the process is described. It's like your consciousness is being changed or developed at every moment during this life. The choices that you make, right? If you develop a demoniac consciousness, I mean, there's no one watching, there's no one God in control, you only live once, right? Then it makes sense to try to exploit others, you see? So your feeling of compassion or others is squelched, is crushed in the demons. That's what it means, the demons. They're very much self-centered. Or as we know, you may have heard this phrase before, malignant narcissism. Self-centeredness and the hell with everyone else. Everyone else is right. Those who can't help me to enjoy, I'll just ignore them or exploit like that. So this is what the world is like today. We see it. It's more and more. It develops with the development or Haribol Bhushan. Welcome. The ages that we know, the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. There's these four qualities of the saintly qualities. What is it? Truthfulness, self-control, cleanliness. I forget the other one. But I always wondered, why is it that Treta Yuga is the second Yuga? You would think that Dwapara would be second. Dwapara means second and Treta means third, right? But that's not what it means. You got the Satya Yuga, the age of truth, right? And people are all in the mode of goodness. They live for a long time, meditate, right? And very rare demons. You don't see them much. And Treta means that there's only 3 of these 4 qualities that are manifest. That's what and Dwapara means there's only 2. And the Kali, they don't even say. There's only 1 left and it's dying. The last one is truthfulness. Like if you read the first canto, there's Kali is coming and he's beating the legs of the cow, right? The cow is a symbol of religion. So it's mentioned there that this Kali Yuga, the last leg, there isn't much cleanliness and religiousness, and the truthfulness is also being destroyed. Everything is a lie. And hypocrisy is, is very, very prominent. So many scams, cheating, right? It's all based on lack of truthfulness. So, what we're reading here is different verses that flow naturally from this demonic mentality. Kamama ashritya dushparam. This is the previous verse, the 10 we read. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac thus illusioned, they're always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. And this chapter will continue like that until the last few verses, which are very essential. So then what does it do? They believe to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. But you can see this is just the opposite of the injunctions of being a devotee. One of the first things you have to do is control the senses. That's what the 4 regular principles are all about. Right? And why? Because if you're simply involved in sense gratification, that keeps you in deep illusion, and you become a competitor for God. The last thing you want to do is think there's a God who's you have to serve and control, and that. No, you want to be God. You're pretending to be God. You're a bad imitation of God, but that's what everyone's competing to. I'm the enjoyer. Krishna in the next few verses, in the 13 to 15, he's going to imitate being a devotee. And there's one line here that's very memorable, I remember. So that's what, actually the next series of verses that we read. So this is their belief. And then in these next verses, Krishna will pretend to be a demon. And he's giving a little speech there. So we can read that. No faith in God is okay. So text 13 and 15, we'll read just 13. Idam adjamaya labdham imam prapse manoratam idam asti idam abhime bhavishyati punardanam. All right, let's go on. Aso maya hatak shatru hanashe cha paranapi Ishwaroham hambogi Siddhoham balavan sukhi Ajo bijanavan asmi Konyosti sadusho maya Yakshe dasyami modishya Itya jnana vimohita. Okay, so now Krishna is speaking like the demon. The demoniac person thinks, or he's thinking, so much wealth do I have today, and I will get more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So that last line, I shall perform sacrifices, I will give some charity. This is the damba. This is the damba. Now, Prabhupada always defined damba as pride, but it's a pride, the false pride that causes one to be a hypocrite. I know it would be great if people think I'm religious, so I'll go to church, you know, on Sunday and everything. I think of the mafia. Isn't it the mafia? Yeah. I always recall that when I was a kid, there was this magazine. Some of you may remember it. I don't think you remember. You're probably from India. Life magazine. There was Time and Life. Those are the two magazines, famous. So it was full color, you know, and we used to get it every week. So one week I remember they did a whole feature on the New York Mafia. And they had like a rogues gallery, picture after picture, and you see all these guys, you know, like that. And none of them looked very happy. They looked kind of, you know, because they're all under threat from some other mafia guy and everything, you know. But that came to mind whenever I read this, you know. This is the mentality, is that, you know, I'm powerful, you know, and if anyone gets in my way, I have my gang, you know, and I'll get, you know, it's like this is. So it's like on a larger scale, you have the demoniac rulers of the countries, right, exploiting the earth, and you know, in this country, in the 19th century, we had slaves. This country was built on slavery and ethnic cleansing of the Native Americans. Not very auspicious, and those you know, vibes are still in this country. Yeah, racism and all this stuff. So, you know, what could be more bodily concept than that? Bodily concept of life. Oh, this person is colored different than me? Okay, I'll make him a slave. It's insane, you know. But you see the example, the advantage. Now you get free work and you can become wealthy, you know. And I'm telling you, you know, those who know this thing, that in the prisons they also have, right? A lot of these people, you know, they make them work all day, and they pay them $1.50 a day, you know. And slavery is going on today. So that's the ultimate demonic, you know, institution. To see a human being as only worthy of labor and as property, chattel property. That's the ultimate in demonic. So those vibes are still around, and we have to fight it with this. So Krishna's, so this line here, this one I remember, Ishtaroham hambogi siddhoham balavansuki. You know, it even rhymes, you know. I am the Lord. Of course, Krishna really is the Lord, but he's pretending to be the demon. I am the enjoyer, bogi. I am perfect, powerful, balavan, and sukhi, happy. You see, this is the demonic mentality. So there's no purport. I'll go on. Aneka chitta vibranta. Mohajala samavritaha prasakta kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chao. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Purport: the demoniac man knows no limit to his desire to acquire money. That is unlimited. He thinks only of how much assessment he has just now and schemes to engage that stock of wealth further and further. For that reason, he does not hesitate to act in any sinful way, and so deals in the black market for illegal gratification. He is enamored by the possessions he has already, such as land, family, house, and bank balance, and he is always planning to improve them. He believes in his own strength. And he does not know that whatever he is gaining is due to his past good deeds. He is given an opportunity to accumulate such things, but he has no conception of past causes. He simply thinks that all his massive wealth is due to his own endeavor. A demoniac person believes in the strength of his personal work, not in the law of karma. According to the law of karma, a man takes his birth in a high family or becomes rich or very well educated or very beautiful because of good work in the past. The demoniac think that all these things are accidental and due to the strength of one's personal ability. They do not sense any arrangement behind all the varieties of people, beauty, and education. Anyone who comes into competition with such a demoniac man is his enemy. There are many demoniac people, and each is enemy to the others. This enmity becomes more and more deep between persons, then between families, then between societies, and at last between nations. Therefore, there is constant strife, war, and enmity all over the world. Each demoniac person thinks that he can live at the sacrifice of all others. Generally, a demoniac person thinks of himself as the supreme God, and a demoniac preacher tells his followers, "Why are you seeking God elsewhere? You are all yourselves God. Whatever you like, you can do. Don't believe in God. Throw away God. God is dead." These are the demoniac's preachings. Although the demoniac person sees others equally rich and influential, or even more so, he thinks that no one is richer than he, or that no one is more influential than he. As far as promotion to the higher planetary system is concerned, he does not believe in performing yajnas or sacrifices. Demons think that they will manufacture their own process of yajna and prepare some machine by which they will be able to reach any higher planet. The best example of such a demoniac man was Ravana. By the way, we found out what Ravana really means. One who causes others to cry and weep. Believe that? And in English, to ravish is a word for rape, actually. Anyway, amazing. And ravenous, eat. These are cannibals. These rakshasas. Ravana offered a program to the people by which he would prepare a staircase so that anyone could reach the heavenly planets without performing sacrifices, such as are prescribed in the Vedas. Similarly, in the present age, such demoniac men are striving to reach the higher planetary systems by mechanical arrangements. These are examples of bewilderment. The result is that, without their knowledge, they are gliding toward hell. Here the Sanskrit word moha jala is very significant. Jala means a net. Like fish caught in a net, they have no way to come out. Hare Krishna. So, everywhere we see in this world, we see the demonic mentality. And unfortunately, when these demons are able to capture the government head position, they can do tremendous damage in the world. They can, start World War III, start throwing these weapons around. And so what are we going to do about that? Well, we have two dimensions, at least two dimensions to this movement. One is one's own personal path, try to go back to Godhead, right? But the other is, which is integrated very closely with that, is to try to save the world by spreading the consciousness of Krishna. You can see that the mentality of a devotee is exactly opposite. Is that there's a sarve sukhino bhavantu, right? Isn't that a phrase? Is it a common one? Let everyone be happy. The demon doesn't think like that. Let everyone serve my happiness somehow or other. How could I exploit them? Just the opposite. So we're trying to save everyone, including the demons. The demons can be purified. If that's the whole point, is that no one is barred from Lord Chaitanya's movement. I mean, Jaga and Madai were acting demonically. They had been born Brahmins, but they became degraded, and they were doing crimes, and they were hurting people, and there was like a. But Lord Nityananda didn't give up on them, even when they attacked him. They threw the shard, of a piece of a broken pot and cut Nityananda. And he didn't get angry, and he didn't run away that time. They did before, he and Haridas. But he saw that, these two are perfect examples of the nature of the people in this age. If Lord Chaitanya can deliver them, then, this will be fabulous. He'll be that much more famous. So he insisted, even though he's bleeding, he said, I don't mind, still chant Hare Krishna. So it was Madhai who was going to throw another pot, and Jagai stopped him. He stopped him. You see, he became, by that he was saved. Everything actually, you know, was dependent on that, because he stopped him. He saw that he became sane for a moment, and he saw, well, this is actually a saintly person. And meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya was coming with his chakra. But when he did, Nityananda said, "Oh, oh Lord, you know, in this incarnation, you don't kill anybody. You know, these Jagai and Madhai, they're symptomatic of the people of this age, so you should deliver them." And meanwhile, Nityananda told Lord Chaitanya that Jagai had stopped Madhai. So he said, "Oh, you know, so he gave him all this mercy, he got love of God right there." You know, when Jagai surrendered to him, you know. And Madhai said, "Oh, that's an easy thing." He said, "No, you have to surrender to Nityananda, you know." So they were delivered. Actually, if you want to read, you know, the whole story is amazing. It's mentioned in the CC, but it's really told in detail in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Jagai and Madhai, then they went home with Lord Chaitanya, and they had this big kirtan, and they were in ecstasy. They could be completely purified by the influence of Lord Chaitanya. And he warned all the other devotees, now don't even think about their previous lives. They're now pure, you know, on the same level as you are, basically, you know, which is quite remarkable. It just shows the power of the purification of Lord Chaitanya and his the holy name. So that's the moving force of this movement. Prabhupada came to New York, you know, and he encountered many demons. We had Mr. Payne, properly named, you know. He cheated the devotees. But Prabhupada was trying to get a bigger building, and he had collected some money, some of his donations, you know. So this Payne, he was some kind of real estate guy, but he was actually a lawyer, a cheater. And he stole the money, you know, from the devotees. But Prabhupada was by that time in the West Coast, so he learned about it. But Prabhupada's an old businessman, you know. He came back and he worked around. He got most of the money back. But that's what you find in big, you know, wealthy places like New York. There's all kinds of cheaters ready to take your money. And now with the internet, so many scams running. Old people, you know, their nest egg is gone. They try to buy something. So that's the world we live in. So it's a big fight between the forces of good and the forces of evil. It's an eternal battle. But we know from Krishna consciousness, from the Bhagavad Gita, what it really means to be good, and what is the danger to oneself to embrace these demoniac ideas and this attitude. It's based completely on the idea that, well, YOLO, I only live once. If you really thought I'm going to hell, you know, they might think twice. Of course, it's there in the Christian, you know, religion, of course, also, and so that's. But so here, you know, they're bound by they become so strongly attached to sense enjoyment that they fall down into hell. And the rest of this chapter is very important, because it's, when we get to near the end of it, it's only a few more verses. So let's read on, and we'll probably complete it tomorrow. Okay, so 6:17, right? Atmasambhavitak stabdha dhanamanamadhanvitaha yajante nama yagyaiste dambena vidipurvakam. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. This is that word damba again, which way back when, that was the first quality of the demons. Damba madanvita, I forget. So this is false pride. Out of pride means they perform the sacrifice in name only. Now they want to be thought of as religious, because that, you know, that's good. But they don't follow any rules and regulations. It's just a show. That's what damba means. Avidipurvakam, without following rules and regulations. Purport. Thinking themselves all in all, not caring for any authority or scripture, the demoniacs sometimes perform so-called religious or sacrificial rites, and since they do not believe in authority, they are very impudent. This is due to illusion caused by accumulating some wealth and false prestige. Sometimes such demons take up the role of preacher, mislead the people, and become known as religious reformers or as incarnations of God. They make a show of performing sacrifices, or they worship the demigods, or manufacture their own god. Common men advertise them as God and worship them, and by the foolish they are considered advanced in the principles of religion or in the principles of spiritual knowledge. They take the dress of the renounced order of life and engage in all nonsense in that dress. Actually, there are so many restrictions for one who has renounced this world. The demons, however, do not care for such restrictions. They think that whatever path one can create is one's own path. There is no such thing as... sorry, I got this problem with my finger. There's no such thing as a standard path one has to follow. The word avidipurvakam, meaning a disregard for the rules and regulations, is especially stressed here. These things are always due to ignorance and illusions. So, many years of these cheaters, and even you have this prosperity religion, what's it called? Prosperity theology. You know that? Where they have the, you never heard of that? The crowds come, stadiums, and the whole idea is that I'm proof that it works, you see? And these preachers, they purposely have 3 yachts and 2 airplanes and all this stuff. And so all you have to do is plant the seed. Just send in your $100, and you'll see, you'll become... And people believe it, I swear. And even, you know that? And this is totally demonic. Even women get into it. There's this one woman who's a famous one of these preachers, And it's just that you have to be able to speak well and seem to be sincere and have charisma, and then you can make millions this way. Total perversion of the idea of religion, What happened to Jesus, the poor shall inherit the earth, or something like that, So this is Kali Yuga. The perverted of the impulse for God can be also exploited and perverted, and people going to hell. Certainly the preachers are going to hell, but they're taking their followers with them. So Prabhupada, he's counteracting this. I mean, there's this famous. As an editor, I have gone through the Bhagavad Gita. There were some revisions we made, and I'm fully, aware of some of the things that Prabhupada encountered as he was writing the Bhagavad Gita. And there was, what was it, Dr. I forget his name now. But he wrote a Bhagavad Gita. He was the president of India at one time. And in 934, which is the key verse, Manmana bhava madbhakto majjati mam namaskuru, mama vaishasi yukvaivam atmanam atparayanaha. Just think of me, become my devotee, worship me, bow down to me. You'll certainly come to me if you're linked to me in this way. So in the commentary on that verse by this author, he writes, it is not to the person Krishna that we have to surrender, but to the impersonal within Krishna. Krishna is not different from his body. He's all spirit. There's no inside or outside of Krishna. So Prabhupada, he encountered this. I think he was helping to run one of the ashrams of his godbrothers at one point. And the brahmacharis would go out and come back, they would sell some magazines or harmonists or whatever it was. And they encountered this philosopher. They had told Prabhupada about this Bhagavad Gita. And he included it in the purport to 934, you'll find. He criticizes this. This is insanity. This is nonsense. Shows he doesn't know the first thing about Krishna, that he's Satchidananda Vigraha, right? Ishwarak Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. The supreme controller is Krishna. He has a body, Vigraha, that is composed of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. And there's no inside of Krishna that you have to find Krishna's soul or something. There's no soul in there. He's all soul, solid soul. So this is and he was the president of India. And there was a pastime I just heard about recently within the last few years, that when he was on his deathbed, because he knew about Prabhupada had become famous, and preaching. So he asked him to come and see him, and he did. And he said, "Oh, you know, please pray to your Krishna to save me," you know, because at that point he was realizing that he needs all the help he could get, you know. Because it's very impersonal to think that Krishna also has a soul that's embodied. He's the origin of all souls. He's the supreme soul, the super soul, the soul of everybody. So this confusion, you see how important it is to have the accurate knowledge and the interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita and other Shastra. That's the key. Because it's so easy to become a charlatan and give some fake interpretation, become well known, get a little mystic power, create some gold, get many followers. Prabhupada is, you know, giving us as it is. So fortunate. Okay, that was 18, right? Ahankaram balam darpam. Yeah, I think you're right. We're doing 18. Okay. Ahankaram balam darpam. Kamam krodham cha samshitaha. Mamatma padadeheshu. Pradvishanto visuyakaha. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and they blaspheme against the real religion. Purport: a demoniac person, being always against God's supremacy, does not like to believe in the scriptures. He is envious of both the scriptures and the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is caused by his so-called prestige and his accumulation of wealth and strength. He does not know that the present life is the preparation for the next life. Not knowing this, he is actually envious of his own self, as well as of others. He commits violence on other bodies and on his own. He does not care for the supreme control of the Personality of Godhead, because he has no knowledge. Being envious of the scriptures and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he puts forward false arguments against the existence of God and denies the scriptural authority. He thinks himself independent and powerful in every action. He thinks that since no one can equal him in strength, power, or wealth, he can act in any way and no one can stop him. If he has an enemy who might check the advancement of his sensual activities, he makes plans to cut him down by his own power. So it's just like, you know, this is right out of the headlines in the news. This is what's going on. It's, you know, it's crazy. Kamam krodham to sangshita. It takes shelter. This is false ego. It's strength of pride and vanity. Kamam krodham. So this is, now these are, you know, this chapter is also for us to warn us. If you practice Krishna consciousness, you feel yourself becoming free from these things. You feel, you know, that you realize, because it's all based on recognizing the supremacy of God. So that directly works against your, you know, false pride. You can't really practice Krishna consciousness very long and maintain these attitudes. But you can see how that without that knowledge, without that practice, the people are helpless of the influence of the age. You know, because everywhere there's this competition, you feel that people feel threatened, and the demons naturally want to take control and dominate everyone. And so it's a very dangerous age. And you can see how the only solution to this is not some political thing, not some social thing. You know, it's not going to work. It has to be at the very root of people's personality, of what they think is real and what they think is the truth. And so this is really it's a social movement as well as a personal movement. You know, one is trying to increase its attraction for Krishna as a Krishna consciousness, but at the same time save the world by spreading this knowledge. Because otherwise, Kali Yuga has just become, I mean, I always thought, okay, we're 5,000 years in, and it's already like it is now? There's going to be another 427,000 years of this? Whoa! You know, you can imagine how. And there's some prediction there in the 12th canto. You know, there won't be anything to eat, you know, there won't be enough rain. You know, we're seeing that, the climate change, there's too much rain, not enough rain. And it's all caused by human beings, anthropogenic climate change. So
all those years that you mentioned.
yeah, there we go.
Hare Krishna. So all these years that you named, 400 something thousand, you just said this,
Years.
Yeah. Is it gonna be with humans, or the humans will be extinct?
Doesn't say
There's-
anything about humans being extinct, but it says that, it'll be so bad that people will take shelter and just go to the mountains to get away from the cities. And it'll be very difficult. There's a series of kings that are mentioned, and they're all worse than, each one is worse than the last one.
Because being an environmental scientist, I don't think humanity will last long.
That's what I thought. How this
Like Newton, the scientist Newton,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
predicted that 2060 we will, that was already in the 1700s, he could see the resources will be all exploited.
the natural resources?
Yeah. So, I mean, that means that maybe humans will extinguish eventually, but I don't see another 400,000.
Well, it doesn't predict there that human beings will be extinct, but it's a lot. It's just going to be horrific. To try to live
Yeah.
civilization. I mean, even now we can see that things are on the edge. We're really on the edge of destruction right now. This ocean out here. If what is it? There's the Doomsday Glacier in Antarctica. You know about that, right? Thwaite. Right? It's melting. It's huge. And it's melting because the water is warming, right, underneath. And that is, it'll be like 20 feet higher, the ocean. Right? What is it? And the microplastics, there's plastics everywhere. They're in our brains now. You're breathing them in. And where is there, the urgency? I mean, they've had these meetings to try to tamp down what is it? Greenhouse, gases, but none of the nations are serious, including this one, because they all think, well, I'm going to stop mine, but everyone else can continue, so I'm not going to be full, So they're pouring out, they're still pouring out, and one of the worst things is the animal slaughter, right? That's one of the big contributions of it. So who knows what's going to happen? What I think our plan should be to become as Krishna conscious as possible, and to help as many people become Krishna conscious as possible, and then to get out. Because it looks like it's a very long shot that things are going to become nice, somehow. And of course, we have the prediction of the 10,000-year reign of Lord Chaitanya's movement. So somehow, if mass Sankirtan goes on, things can be turned around. But you're right. 5,000 years. It's already like this. 420,000 years. No, thank you. I'm going to try to go back to God. Krishna. All right. How about a few poems? Something that's very hopeful. Well, we could start with this one. This verse by Bhagavad Gita Goswami, glorifying the holy name. Radheti nama navasundadasidu mugdam, Krishneti nama madurabhatagara dugdham, Savakshanam sudaviragahi mena ramyam, Kritvat daiva pibame rasanetra darte. An excellent fresh nectar drink with endless subtle tastes. Such is the name of Radha, by whom all three worlds are graced. Condensed milk that is wonderfully delicious, thick and sweet. Such is the name of Krishna, in whom all attractions meet. Now mix these drinks, O thirsty tongue, and add the cooling, fragrant spice of love. A prize the wise will try to buy at any price. And then at every moment drink this beverage most fine, and make my heart supremely blissful, peaceful, and divine. Maybe I can propagate that poem and people will start chanting. Okay. And then there's this wonderful prayer from Queen Kunti, one of my first verses I ever memorized. Swaime yanannavishya mati mandapate sakrit rataman mahataradha gange bhaugumadanmati. O Madhava, please ever fill my mind with thoughts of thee, not any other kind. As Ganges torrent flows into the sea, let all my love flow constantly to thee. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Oh, we have a few more minutes. Here's another one which is along those lines by Bilvamangal Thakur. It's from near the very end of the Krishna Karnamrita. Jaya 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 Deva 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 Tribhavana Mangala Divya Nama Deha Jaya 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 Deva Krishna Deva Shavana Manonaya Nama Tavatara. Oh glory, 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 Lord, oh glory unto thee, who with thy holy name bless all three worlds and set them free. Oh glory, glory, glory unto thee, O Krishna Dev, whose nectar floods our ears and eyes and hearts in endless waves. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Okay, one more. The essence of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, text 1865 and 66. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyati mam namaskuru mamai vasasi satyam te pradijane priyosi me. Just think of me, now he's speaking to Arjun, just think of me, become devoted, worship me and bow down low. You'll come to me, O friend, I promise you this boon I shall bestow. Give up all other dharmas and surrender only unto me. Your sins I'll nullify, O friend, from all anxiety be free. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Okay, let's get ready for the arti. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.